Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. Today we are taking on Mission Quest 3. I know I'm a little late to getting to this stuff. I was super busy last night. I actually crashed at like 7:45, so I didn't stay up and like do all the Leo stuff when I normally would. So we're going to start pushing that out today. And I am going to start with this Mission Quest before even the character guide. I'm going to get the character guide out today also, and then I'll probably have the Leo Shinryu and some other stuff come out later. But I want to get this fight out right away because I found this fight to be like very difficult, but then once I understood how to stop it, it actually isn't that bad. So the way this fight works is the enemies are actually super squishy. Like you can kill them very quickly, but if you just run into this fight blind, it almost seems unbeatable and unfair because what the enemies do, you see they have a million thresholds, right? And the other thing is just flat out when they get turns, one of their regular attacks just auto kills you. They're like single target auto kills. Like they don't do brave damage. You can't dodge them. Like it just seems very unfair. But what they're really trying to push in this fight is I think they're trying to push Shantado for when she comes out. Because to me, the best way to deal with this fight is paralysis. So paralysis and like turn manipulation and delay, those are all really good things to have here. So my team build here is Aerith, Jessie, and Fusoya. So I'm really bringing out some characters I haven't used in a while, right? Namely Jessie and Fusoya. And I always thought, that Jessie and Fusoya are a very good combo in fights where you want to abuse Fusoya's paralyzed, right? And that's what we want to do here. So the idea is you just want to keep these enemies locked down and paralyzed. Once you figure that out, then the fight is actually pretty easy. If you just, whatever method you want to do, just keep them locked down. So the reason why Fusoya works so great with Jessie here is that Fusoya has a hold attack, which is just an AoE paralyzed, but it's one turn. But what happens is if he can pop his LD, he turns it into like 3 turns, or he increases it by 2 turns. So then you can just keep that paralyzed up. The reason why Jessie is so important here, and the reason why Jessie is like the character of choice, is this fight wants you to use gun characters and staff characters. So Jessie is a gun character that has turn manipulation. So the problem with Fusoya is you could put his 1-turn paralyze on, but it's really hard for him naturally just to get another turn to put his LD on after that. So Jessie allows me to turn manipulate Fusoya forward, use Fusoya's LD, get that paralyze up to 3 turns, and then we're pretty much golden. Now you might say, well, if you can delay them and stuff, why not just delay them to oblivion and not worry about it? The problem is they do threshold attacks and interruptions. So one of their interruptions that they'll do when they reach a threshold is they do something that says that they're bracing, right? And when they brace, what happens is they jump cut to the front of the line. The only way to get rid of the brace is to let them have a turn. The problem is they'll jump cut to the front and then they can do an auto kill attack. So the idea is you want them paralyzed. They'll do their jump cut to the front, they'll brace, but then they're paralyzed and then their brace falls off because they still took a turn, right? So when I was reading these bosses, I was really like, yeah, they're really pushing paralysis here, which is why I think it's a push for Shantado, because they want you to use a staff character. Shantado, conveniently enough, is a staff character with a very nice 2-turn paralysis, AoE with the LD. So I think Shantado, in this same team setup, if you replace Fusoya with Shantado, I think that's just a direct upgrade. And then you wouldn't even have to necessarily run Jessie, I don't think, because the turn manipulation isn't as important. Like Shantado can just throw down that 2-turn debuff and you're good to go. But this team here for right now works just fine. And then Aerith is also playing an important role. Not only is Aerith just like a really busted mage, but Aerith's healing is really good for this fight because there's another kink that the enemies are going to throw at you as you get near the farther down thresholds, is they'll do an off-turn counterattack that is a drain slash. And I believe this is a gravity HP attack, so I don't think it will kill you, but it does heal them. And the big thing is they'll do a lot of HP damage, so you need a way to burst heal it back before you finish the fight. And when you're in like a really strong force time, you could actually kill the enemies too fast when your HP isn't ready yet. Because like I said, they're very squishy. Because look, they're already down to like 80-something%, and we haven't even entered a force time yet. And these aren't like top tier DPS characters. Like I would say no character on this team is actually a very good damage dealer at all. So I was kind of like worried going in with this team, wondering if I would have enough damage. Well, it turns out they made the enemies really squishy to offset the fact that they basically are unfair. If you don't paralyze them, it's a very difficult fight. But once you like figure out the lockdown of it and you lock them down, once again, it's actually pretty easy. because they're super squishy. You just need like one force time, like normal strat. You don't have to do a crazy burst phase strat or anything. And you just beat through them and they go down like butter. Like pretty dang easy. So you'll see what happens here. We just started and we use Fusoya's force time. And once again, we've got a 2-turn paralysis down. I'm always watching the paralysis. Like, I got to make sure they have multi-turn paralysis on. I don't want to get in trouble. So here's Aerith. Yep, double echo sounds really good here. Just get our percentage high right away. And then, yeah, Jessie's turn manipulation came in play here. And, you know, we do have 3 force characters, but only 1 echo. So the nice thing about it is, you know, had I needed another force time, I had plenty of them, right? I had another Fusoya force. I had more Jessie force times. But yeah, it was really just managing the fight here and making sure that we keep those suckers locked down and paralyzed. And then we're good to go. But yeah, I did do this a couple times, like really quick without reading very much. So I'm like, dude, what the heck? They're just auto-killing me. I suppose the other strat you could take, because Aiko would be available for this, you could bring Aiko and Aerith as your 2 mage characters and like really just force your way through the auto deaths by reviving. I just don't know how productive that's going to be, because when you revive, you lose your buffs, you can lose your burst effects. It just doesn't seem like a great strat to do, but I'm sure you could I'm sure someone out there is going to force their way through it with Aiko and Aerith and just keep auto reviving. Sure, you could definitely try that if you want to. Was not my strat here. I kind of looked at what the devs are wanting, and I feel like this is what they want. And right now, like before Shantado's upgrade, I feel like this might be the best team build you could do for this fight. Like I said, Fusoya and Jessie are just so perfect here. And Aerith just being ridiculous and having the burst healing. Just, it had everything I wanted. So here comes the drain slashes. So you can see there, and the annoying part about it is the drain slash puts you below 50%. So we lose Aerith's BT effect here. Well, knowing that they're going to keep off turn doing that, because I do have a burst phase I could use with Aerith to reapply it. But I'm kind of like, well, if they're going to just keep taking that off, I kind of figured what's the point? So my thought is let's try to get through their last threshold, because here, they're going to drain every time. And you see, I'm pretty sure it's a gravity. It's not going to like auto-kill me or anything. So I wasn't too worried about it. So I decided to try Raijin. So I'm like, all right, well, let's Raijin, so then maybe they can't drain slash me, right? Well, what I find is it gets around Raijin. It's like a true HP damage attack. Like, Raijin doesn't negate it. So you'll see it, and the Paralyze doesn't stop the Drain Slash either. But we get them to relax their posture. That's what you want the Paralyze for. Because otherwise they brace and they auto-kill you. So, yeah, it was kind of nasty to figure out at first. But once again, once you get the formula down, it's good. Now, I could see this fight being really hard for a lot of players, because I guarantee there's a lot of players that did not get Fusoya and a lot of players that didn't get Jessie. So, and I would say Fusoya is more of a requirement than Jessie, right? Like, you need a paralyzed character. So without that, I mean, this is going to be very difficult. So we're fighting through the drain slashes once again. And it's not that there aren't other paralyzed options, but it's like, how many paralyzed options are there that are staff or gun, right? And that's the part where it's super limiting. And once again, I think what they're going to do is they're going to catch players off guard that don't have Fusoya, and they're going to want to pull Shantado. Now, you might be able to do it in Shantado's current state, which I feel like you could, because it's not like Fusoya is putting up a ton of damage, and Shantado has a burst phase still. Like, I could probably take a current Shantado and probably still get through it. It's just if you wait for Shantado's upgrade, even if you don't get, like, if you have Shantado currently built, right? Let Shantado come back. You don't necessarily have to pull, but if you have a somewhat fully built, at least LD Shantado, you might be able to just get through this fine anyways, as is. Or just wait for the upgrade, and Shantado is going to do a lot more damage, even if you don't pull the new stuff. So yeah, you'd be pretty good to go there. But I do have Shantado's BT, so there is a part of me that would be tempted to just grab Shantado's, like, if I can get the FR fast with tickets, I would maybe do that, just because then I have the BT, I could just green it and have, like, another fun character. We'll see. By the way, I should talk about my Leo pulls, because as you notice, I didn't post a video for that either. I was pretty much just planning to go free pulls, so I didn't really do a vid on it. And my free pulls, I didn't really get anything, but kind of something that I do is I ended at 80 G tokens, so I'm fine putting one gem multi in just to go to 100 G tokens. Didn't get anything on that, but then I did, you know, people in my Discord were talking about Leo's fight, that it's like really hard without him, so I'm like, ooh, I better just try to get the FR. I got his FR at only 30 tickets, so I do have an FR, Leo built up to FR, so non-BT. We will do the character guide. I did see a fully built Leo on my friends list, so I might be able to use that to show the BT, but my plan is to record the character guide after this for Leo. But here you go. we can see end of force time, like the enemies are pretty much done. And even though they got a little bit of health left, they are so squishy that they're just going to blow up. We use Fusoya's LD to make sure that we refresh that paralyze up to a higher turn count. And we're good to go. It was really nice doing this fight too because, you know, it was nice to reuse Jessie and to bring back Fusoya. It gives me more respect for these characters. They're just characters I kind of have had sitting aside that I haven't really used since their initial events. And I'm happy that I have them because they were very good for this fight. Really needed them here, and it was really nice to be able to pull these guys out. And this is why I like lockout content. It's really the only way to get me to use some of these characters, to be honest, because it's like, if I didn't have any limitation here, am I going to choose Fusoya over like Rax or like another DPS character? No, like I'm going to use the most busted characters I can. So I like that they have these here. Force me to bring out these characters, have some fun with them. I like Jessie a lot too. I think Jessie's very cool. And this is definitely the fight you want her for, like something that calls for turn manipulation where you really want to stay in front of the enemies, put certain characters in front, things like that. Jessie did a great job here. Really nice gun character to have at my disposal for this fight. I really wanted to use Cater here, to be honest, but Cater was getting like auto-killed by that attack. Like she couldn't dodge it, so it was really unfortunate that they block dodging here. Some stuff can be dodged, but not the auto kill stuff, so that was unfortunate. So here I'm like, all right, let's just summon to make sure, and then sure enough, the summon here pops them, and we're good to go. So anyways, guys, let me know how you tackled Mission Quest 3. I think this one's going to be very hard for players that don't have the right characters, but my strat here was turn manipulate and paralyze, and we were good to go. It really wasn't bad after that. Just have some burst healing to handle at the end. Get them through that last threshold where they do the counter. Make sure you have a burst heal ready, and then you just go to town and finish them off. So anyways, guys, let me know how this fight was treating you. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.